Hi guys, I'm Sandy, and today I want to talk to you about what happens when you have everything you've ever wanted, but it still isn't enough to make you happy. Now, when I say having everything, I don't mean when compared to poor children in Africa or people who have a really hard life. It's also not about, I really thought I wanted this and now I'm here and it turns out I don't. What I'm talking about here is when you're living the dream, having everything going for you, ticking all the boxes, having the complete package, and it's still not being enough. For some, this is a temporary thing. Nobody can be happy all the time, right? The downs are what makes us appreciate the ups so much. It's just the way it is. For others, it is a constant feeling, that way in your chest that you can't quite get rid of no matter how hard you try. That's what I'm talking about here. A quick disclaimer though, I am not a mental health professional in any way, shape, or form, okay? So if you suspect that your unhappiness is related to depression or some kind of illness, please seek professional help. You are not alone, and there are wonderful professionals out there who can help you get better. Just don't give up, okay? Now, I have to say that this topic, like most of my videos, is deeply personal for me because I struggle with this a lot. I don't really know how to say this without sounding like I'm bragging, but I have a pretty great life, It wasn't always like that, but today I have a job I love, that allows me to live comfortably. I'm debt-free, I have a lovely home, a wonderful family, a supportive partner, and all these pets I am crazy in love with. I also meditate, work out, socialize a lot, travel when there isn't a stupid pandemic out there. But I don't know what to tell you, sometimes for a couple of days, maybe even a week or two, I get really down. I'm sad, I'm low energy, I'm unable to find joy in a lot of the things that usually give me joy. I'm on edge and cranky. I really hate those times. And sometimes I get really sensitive, like I feel okay, but it takes very little to get me down or make me upset. And no, it's not a hormonal thing. It happens all times of the month, nothing to do with my biology, okay? And since I've started looking into this, I've realized I am not alone in this and in feeling frustrated that I feel this way. I've also noticed that January is a particularly hard month for a lot of people, and December too, actually. In fact, tell me, are you watching this video because you struggle with this too? Please leave me a comment below letting me know if this is an issue for you as well. I would love to hear from you. There is no doubt in my mind that happiness is a choice, and that being able to make that choice is about mental training as well as your habits, meaning that basically you need to train yourself to live and think a certain way to get the results you want. Easier said than done, right? I hope not. So here are the things we're doing that are making us very unhappy. The first one being hanging around negative people. Negative people are pros when it comes to being unhappy. They are always finding things to be upset about, always complaining and criticizing everything and everyone. They live in fear of everything bad that can happen, which usually leads them to attracting a lot of bad things. So it kind of turns into a vicious cycle if you think about it, a self-fulfilled prophecy, if you will. Now, if you spend a lot of time with someone like this, it is bound to rub off. Misery loves company, right? And of course you're going to listen to them complaining, either because you want to be supportive of a loved one or simply because you don't want to be rude. Well, for your happiness' sake, you need to change that. Don't convince yourself that you can listen to them without getting sucked in. It just doesn't work that way. You need to keep your distance, or if that's not possible, to try and direct the conversation to a more productive route. Now, they may get angry at you because you are not allowing them to do their thing, and so they will try to make you feel bad about it. Just don't. You wouldn't feel bad about not allowing a smoker to blow smoke at you, right? This is pretty much the same thing if you think about it. It's about your health and what you need to do to keep yourself safe. And that's for negative people who criticize you and try to bring you down. Cut them loose, regardless of who they are to you. You need people who lift you up in your life, not people who drag you down. And don't forget, negative people are often jealous of successful people like yourself. And if it's someone you don't feel ready to cut ties with completely, like a parent or a sibling or someone just really close to you, just limit interactions to a minimum and disengage when it gets nasty. And remember, their negativity has nothing to do with you. It is their own issue, so don't take it personally, okay? The same goes for you being negative, for you complaining all the time and being critical of everything and everyone, or giving into fear. Here's the thing, life isn't always perfect 24/7. It is not supposed to be. And it is up to you to decide how you react to the bad things that happen. If you focus on the bad things, on the negative, you are cheating yourself out of seeing the good parts because the bad is all you'll be able to see. You'll also attract more bad things to your life because, as I've mentioned before, what you focus on, you attract. And while there's nothing wrong about talking about things that upset you, complaining is quite a different thing, don't you think? And as for fear, well, it really is just an illusion if you think about it. It hasn't happened yet, maybe it will never happen, but letting fear take over your life will stop you from not only enjoying it, but also from experiencing amazing things. I actually have this video about how fear may be ruining your life. You can watch it after this one and get a bit more information on the subject. Now, the third thing we tend to do is comparing our lives with other people's lives, like what they show on social media, for example. Okay, I know we all know better than that, but it can often be very unconsciously done. For example, I know that social media is staged at best and totally fake at worst, but when I'm sitting on my couch working and I go on a break and go on social media and see like a friend on vacation posting these awesome photos, immediately I will resent everything around me because I wish I was doing that instead, right? Some years ago, the Happiness Research Institute conducted this Facebook experiment, and half of the participants kept using Facebook as usual, while the other half kept off it for a week. And at the end of just 1 week, 7 days, people who stayed off Facebook reported a significantly higher degree of satisfaction with their lives and lower levels of sadness and loneliness. Incredible, right? So, if you find this is the case for you, either stay off social media altogether or reduce how much time you're spending there, or at the very least, take all you see on there with a grain of salt. Moving on, the next thing we are doing is not getting odd enough. We get so much information and stimulation online, and with hundreds of TV channels, it's like we are exposed to too many things, so many things we get immune to awe. Things just don't quite impress us as much anymore, and that is a real shame. When was the last time you felt happy looking at a rainbow or a sunset or a beautiful field of flowers? We need to appreciate the little things more because that's the only way to get joy and inspiration from them. So start looking around and noticing the little things. Okay, this next mistake is kind of a vicious circle, which is to isolate yourself when you're down. And I get it, you're unhappy and you don't want to talk to other people, you just want to stay in bed with the covers over your head, preferably. But that doesn't do you any favors. Being around people you love, your friends, your family, around people who make you feel good, even if you don't feel like doing it, is a great mood booster. If they can get just one laugh or even a small smile out of you, it will already be a win. But in order for us to do this, there is another mistake we just need to stop making, which is to let pride get in the way. There is nothing weak about asking for help or sharing your troubles. When you're cranky and in a bad mood, why not let ego aside and let people know you're not feeling your best? So you may end up saying rude things or being a jerk, or to apologize if you hurt people's feelings because of your own struggles. You would be surprised at how much of a difference this simple action makes. Also, I've lost count of how many times over the years I have called a friend to ask if we can meet up because I'm just not feeling great and could really use their wonderful company. You do the same for your friends and loved ones, right? So why not ask for help? Okay, next mistake, which is being the victim, meaning you blame everything and everyone around you for the bad things that happen. You take no accountability, you relinquish any kind of control or responsibility over your life. You are like a leaf blowing in the wind of life. Thinking like this is not only terrifying, it can also be very bad for your overall mood, because it means you are angry at the world. So own up to your responsibility and enjoy the fact that life is what you make of it, and the way you react to what happens determines the outcome. How empowering is that? If you're still not convinced, there is this video about it I think you will love, so just go ahead and watch it after this one, okay? Now, the reverse can also be a problem when you try to control all things in your life to the point of being absolutely miserable when you can't do it, particularly when you're trying to control other people. Here's what you need to know. The need for absolute control is fear-talking, and we've been through how fear is not something you want to have dictate your life. Second, you can only control yourself, your reactions, your outlook, your decisions, no one else's. And trying to do it will only lead to isolation and unhappiness, of course. Now, next mistake we often find ourselves making is trying to impress other people with things and achievements and whatever it is, and I've done this too, constantly trying to impress my parents and make them proud of me. I stopped when I realized how unhappy that made me, because it is a never-ending quest. Here's the thing, the need to impress others comes from a lack of self-esteem, meaning you don't accept or love yourself enough to not care about what others think. Plus, you are buying and doing all these things for them, not for you. And them liking your stuff does not mean they like you. What I mean is, none of it will ever make you happy. Now, this next one can be a little tricky, when you are living an awesome life and you have ticked all those boxes, it's easy to become unhappy due to lack of goals. Having a purpose in your life is paramount for your happiness. If your life doesn't have a particular meaning, if you're not working towards something, your life just becomes empty and you won't feel very happy. Looking forward to something and working to make it happen makes you feel good about yourself and your abilities. Again, if you want to know more on this subject, I have this great video on finding your purpose you can watch after this one. But you also need to be careful about the way you do it, because another big mistake we tend to make is not living in the present, meaning we are either stuck in the past or too focused on the future. You need to keep in mind that the past and the future don't really exist. The only real thing you have in your life is the now. And not enjoying the now because you're still stuck on what happened before or because you're putting your life on hold until you reach a certain goal is a waste of life, quite honestly. So embrace the now, live it fully. Accept you cannot change the past and you don't really know what the future holds. Make each day count. Most importantly, don't try to be happy. And what I mean by this is forcing yourself to feel happy when you're not feeling it at all, when you're feeling down. So just be kind to yourself, don't judge yourself or feel guilty for feeling the way you do when you have this great life when compared to other people. The best way to overcome the blues is to accept what you're feeling, be gentle with yourself, and use some or all the tips I've just mentioned. Also, you can go ahead and watch the videos I suggested earlier. That is it for me today, and I will see you over there. Bye bye!